everybody to Triple Threat Talk, episode 108. And again this week, we're without the doctor. Apparently, we failed to realize that the doc was on the Game Show Network recently.
Really?
He participated in the dating game.
Oh, okay.
So he apparently won a date. He's on a date tonight.
They play that song.
So the doc is on a date. Not on assignment. He's on a date. I guess he thought that a night on the town with women was more important than filming this show.
Well, I can't blame him. But will it be like the typical dating game where he comes back from his date and explains it? Because that's what I want. That's what I look forward to.
I don't know. I think we should demand juicy details. I mean, he bailed on us for a date. I mean, I think this is... But anyway, coming up on today's show...
no dates on this show.
No dates on this show. Mind you, we got some NFL to talk about. You know, it's right around the corner, so we're excited to get...
10 days.
We're excited to get that... the Hall of Fame game.
Hall of Fame game.
Yeah.
Pro Bowl game, Hall of Fame. What's different?
Get that, talking about that. We'll talk about Mr. PED himself, Ryan Braun, Phil Mickelsons. I think we all know what he did this week. Some NASCAR on the dirt. I'm excited to talk about that. Big B with some Roger Federer news and tennis, and a few other odds and ends. But at first, let's get things kicked off as we always do with user questions. So from Against All Odds 20...
Who was our View of the Week last week?
He was. Do you think NXT should have their own show for the fans to see the future stars instead of having main event on TV and superstars on WWE.com and the like?
NXT does have a show. It's showed locally in Florida where they record it there, so it's local for that audience. Unfortunately, I get your question. I think you're maybe asking it, would they show it nationally? That'd be a good idea, but for right now, they're just going to continue to show it in the market.
I do know they're working on touring NXT nationally. Yeah. They were talking...
They do wrestle on dark matches, too.
They were talking... Triple H said he's working on that very diligently to get NXT to go on tour like WWE. Probably not as extensive, obviously, but to expand outside of Florida.
Yeah.
Also from Against All Odds 20... Where do you see this Wyatt family and Kane thing going, and is it a SummerSlam maybe?
Right now, it's very early to tell. The Wyatt family is still very new as a group. The Kane attack thing, could that have any repercussions? We'll have to see if Kane retaliates or how it's working with them. But we'll see. I mean, the Wyatt family is definitely interesting, and SummerSlam right around the corner. There's a plethora of things they could do with them, and I think Kane being thrown in the mix somewhere around the line could be something interesting.
I agree with him. It does make for an interesting fact. I mean, Kane was taken off TV due to his injury. He was taken out of the Money in the Bank match.
Yeah.
You guys just have to ruin everything, don't you?
What I do?
Quotations.
Yes. I'm being Jesse Bunny.
Okay, Jesse the Bunny. Okay, was he there last night?
Yes, he lost to Rob Terry.
Again?
Yes.
Oh my God. All right, from the Buck and Five.
The buck stops here.
Some TNA questions.
We'll get to TNA later.
With TNA having to release several people and having to delay paying several of its people, including Hulk Hogan, do you see the company coming to an end soon? And if you do, how long do you think it has left?
It's not good. There's obviously a thing floating around with the house show they had in Missouri, and Saban, among others, didn't have their licenses for that state, so they had to use wrestlers over and over again.
Yes, they used the same 6 wrestlers
for like 8 matches or something. They had like 8 matches the whole card, and they kind of shuffled them around every once.
Yes,
so
it was weird how they did.
So that's not good. And then I commend TNA in this aspect of letting all the fans backstage, but I also don't commend Jeff Hardy for supposedly charging $20 for an autograph when everyone else did it for free. So that shows how low Jeff Hardy is, and I feel bad for kids that root for him as a role model because he did something completely low and selfish, charging money for something that should have been free. I honestly think this is their last full year in business. I really do. I think, here's the thing, they didn't release Tara because she's not good. They didn't release Luke Gallows because he's no good. They didn't release all these people because they're not good. They can't afford them. They can't afford to pay these people. And this is why they're going through the thing where they're paying people late, like Hulk Hogan. He's one of the people that's high in the company, and they can't pay him. So if you can't pay someone that's right at the top of your company, that's bad for business. So if it continues and TNA's not making enough money, they're gonna have to someone's gonna have to close doors because people are just gonna leave if they can't. I mean, if they can't get paid, they're gonna leave. So
let me I'm going to get back to this in just a minute. I'm going to get to this question, then I'm going to get back to this. If you haven't seen it, Dixie Carter issued a
that was the thing.
State of the Union statement.
Oh, okay.
On the website today.
Oh, okay.
And I want to read a little bit of that.
Oh, okay. I thought it was something else. I thought it was the thing that kind of took Twitter by storm the other day was the hashtag Ask Dixie, because she motioned to fans on Twitter, asked me questions, and
that was part of it.
She just got bombarded.
That was part of it. But
there are questions that I can't even say here that were that bad. You just got bombarded.
So, also for the Buck and Five, if TNA does go under, who would you like to see go to WWE?
AJ again, but I don't know.
AJ Styles.
I'm not thinking of I just think AJ Styles,
Samoa Joe,
Chris Sabin, Bobby Roode,
Austin Aries,
Christopher
Daniels,
Mickey James, Gail Kim, Magnus.
There's several.
I mean, it's not. I mean, Kurt Angle. I think he's coming back anyway, and I think Sting's going to WWE anyway to face Taker at 30. Right. But that's
just a quick. We'll read over this real quick. This is from TNA President today? Dixie Carter. This was posted today.
Okay, so Thursday.
It says, "Hi everyone. In the 11 plus years that I've been with TNA, I'm still amazed by the passion of pro wrestling fans. That passion, in both positive and negative, is remarkable and something that all of us at TNA values. With that said, I asked for questions from you like I have done many times in the past, but I didn't provide a time frame by which I would answer you. I know I've frustrated you all, and I apologize. Beginning next week, each Thursday I will answer legitimate questions, legitimate ones, from you on a weekly basis. I will not, however, address outrageous or hurtful questions or posts."
There was a bunch of those.
I also want to take this opportunity to provide a perspective from inside TNA, where we stand and where, with support from our current and future fans around the globe, we are going. What is being shared with you now is what was shared with the Impact roster before our phenomenal show from Louisville, Kentucky last week.
We'll get to that.
We were in attendance.
We'll get to that later too.
This has been a big year for TNA. We took Impact Live on the road, exactly where it needs to be, where you've asked us to be, in your backyard instead of in one location. We also changed our pay-per-view schedule, shifting from 12 to 4 live pay-per-view events each year in order to increase the value of these events for you. To grow TNA, these are the moves that are needed to be made. And a part of changes like this includes structural changes within TNA to align with this new business model. Many of your comments and questions reference our recent roster changes. The relationship that the fans have with wrestlers is unique and one of the many great aspects of the wrestling business. And for this reason, releasing talent is never easy. Not for you, not for us. But bringing in fresh faces and the best wrestling talent in the world is what you expect and what TNA will always strive to deliver. Recently, we have brought back some talent favorites, Sanjay Dutt, Petey Williams, and Homicide. And you will continue to see this and new talent that we're excited to introduce to you in the coming months. TNA has always been and will continue to be a place where you can interact with the superstars, whether in person at a live show or via social networking like Twitter or Facebook. We are constantly exploring new and interesting ways to take this interaction to another level, and you will see this unfold in the coming months. I appreciate each of you taking the time to share your thoughts and opinions and ideals. Your input and feedback helps us create a better product. I hope you will join us when Impact Live comes to an area near you. Yours truly, Dixie.
Okay, so that's obviously something she addressed.
Thought it'd be good to share here on the show.
She's absolutely right. I mean, I get that TNA is not a good company, but there's no reason for hurtful things you're saying to someone on Twitter. Especially, like, again, there's some things that I would never repeat because they're just just horrible things to say. So obviously, she's going to answer legit questions, which is a good thing. So
right. And finally, for the Buck and Five, how do you feel about the anonymous WWE person leaking pay-per-view and TV spoilers to the internet?
Well, there's two sides to this coin here. One is obviously the bad side. It's, there's someone that's a mole in the company apparently is leaking information to somebody that's spreading it around, different various websites. We wouldn't spread that here because, we just don't want to spread that information.
We try not to give spoilers unless we feel it's okay to give spoilers.
Unless, it's out there. Everyone knows
right.
But it's bad. And WWE is trying to find a way to close this and kind of resolve it so it doesn't get out. But the other side of the coin is the opposite side. Don't look. I mean, there's a bunch of websites out there that give spoilers out, and there's a list of them, no DQ, and the ones you read and stuff like that.
He's on me all the time about it.
Well, yeah.
Stop looking at the websites.
I mean, the thing is, like, if you don't want to know, don't look. I mean,
Exactly.
that's the biggest thing. Like, I'm not going to reveal them here, but I looked at the spoilers for the Raw they taped. They taped the Raw on a Tuesday, and it's going to be on a Monday. I looked up what happened.
I did too.
So it's it was my choice to look.
I'll still watch.
So I'll still watch it. Obviously, I still enjoy watching it. But the thing is, if you don't like spoilers, don't read them. That's the big thing. But again, I think WWE really needs to really try and squash this because I think some people are making bets on it, and I think I heard the match between the Money Bag and Sando one, like somehow his odds like strangely went up before the match started, so it's very odd, and it's a weird thing, and it's just very strange that this is going on.
Do you think that if it is a single individual, if it's not more than one person, that this single individual could be prosecuted?
I mean, here's the thing. Wrestling is, in a sense, fake in terms of the outcome.
Right.
The
outcome is scripted.
Like when Sheamus fought WWE on Raw, the only thing fake was not real was who's like they went out there. Everyone they both knew that Sheamus was going to lose. WWE won. Everyone knew that before going out there. Everything else is real. The moves they take, the injuries that's all real stuff. So people that say wrestling is fake in terms of the moveset, that's completely false. But whoever the things are determined. So I mean. That's the thing. So obviously someone is leaking this information inside the company because that's the only people that know it. So obviously they need to find out who that is.
Exactly. I totally agree. From Zach Villatrude, and I apologize if I
that's a new viewer.
Messed that name up. It is a new viewer, but we welcome you aboard. His question: are we going to see CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar in the future, since they have history where Paul Heyman letting Brock and Curtis Axel attacking CM Punk at Money in the Bank pay-per-view?
Got a glare on my face.
I think it's going to be SummerSlam.
It's going to be SummerSlam. That's already been made, actually. Paul Heyman agreed for Brock Lesnar that the match between the Best and the Beast is going to happen.
Or as he likes to say, Brock Lesnar.
Okay. Anyway,
that's kind of how he says it. It's annoying, but
it's yeah. But yeah, I mean, SummerSlam they're gonna face off against each other. It should be good. Curtis Axel, obviously, he's got his own thing going. Who's gonna feud with next? I don't know. But yeah, I think Lesnar and Punk is definitely good as gold. It's gonna happen at SummerSlam, and I think it's gonna be a great match.
I agree as well. I agree, and thank you for that question, and welcome aboard to the question and comments. So with that, we will anoint this week's Viewer of the Week, and I think we're both in agreement here that the Buckin' Five.
First question about the TNA and the internet leaking.
Good stuff there from the Buckin' Five. So Buckin' Five, you are this week's episode 108, Viewer of the Week. So with that, we'll move right on along to headlines. No Gary, no dancing. That's just the rule around
Don't
here.
make things up next time you can. Big B didn't want it.
Big B didn't want it. You know how we do. We got to banter back and forth against you when he's here.
Of course.
It's part of the show.
It's part of the shtick.
So unlike the doc, we'll move from small point to big point.
Yeah.
So with that, let's talk about the University of Louisville being honored at the White House by the president. This is an honor that every sports team gets. You get to go to the White House, meet the president. They gave Obama a personalized Louisville Slugger bat
and jersey
with his name on it. Which, by the way, did you know? And I didn't know this until recently, and and apologize to me for not knowing. They actually do not get to keep those items.
Really?
They actually go into the Smithsonian, or they go into the presidential vault, and they actually don't get to keep those items.
Really? So he can't wear the jersey?
I don't know. I think he might be able to while he's in office.
Or he, when he gets out of office, he can't take the bat with him?
No.
Really?
No.
I didn't know that either.
So with that, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll roll right on with headlines and much, much more. Stay tuned. Triple Threat Talk. Be right back.
And welcome, Triple Threat Talk fans. This is the Doctor dressed out in doctor attire. We are here actually outside of the world famous Davis Arena. We're losing light. We just enjoyed a great bit of OVW action. tonight, as you notice, it is just my two co-hosts on the show. So we're filming this segment a little bit earlier because I wanted to talk to you all about something on the doctor's mind. PEDs in professional baseball, the MLB. And for that, even though I know a great deal about everything, I am going to bring in a good friend of the show. You'll see him a little bit later on as well, Mr. Brian Cannon. Brian, thank you for joining me today on the show. How are you doing?
Doing well.
So you're repping the Cardinals jersey, you rat punk.
As always.
You know, because I'm a Reds fan. Everybody knows that. And the Reds and the Cardinals in the same division. You get that? Punk. Jackass. Okay, anyways. So this week we had a lot of suspensions going on with Ryan Braun from the Brewers and A-Rod as well as others. They are contemplating a lifetime ban on A-Rod, and I think the Yankees are kind of salivating at that. What would you say about that? Because they won out of this contract that they gave him, 10 years, $250 million, kind of something like David Beckham got for the LA Galaxy 10 years ago when he started playing in Los Angeles for soccer. What do you think about it? Do you think the Yankees are going to try to use this to get out of the contract? Well, we all know they're going to try. Do you think they're going to be successful at it?
I don't know if they'll be successful, but I don't see why they shouldn't. I mean, it just makes sense because when you've got somebody that has lied a couple times, taken drugs a couple times, been caught for it, as much as they're paying him, he deserves it at this point.
And I think what you're going to see is the league, and these are times I wish Kendra was here too, because she would tell you the union is going to try to protect A-Rod, even though he's lied about taking PEDs, kind of like Ryan Braun. At what point did Ryan Braun start losing credibility with you? The more and more that he denied it, or were you shocked? I mean, personally, and this is not the ego in me talking, I really was not shocked because he denied it so much. It's kind of like, you can only yell wolf so many times. He was denied, and each time he was a little bit more adamant about it. So it was one of those things, the more he said something, I was more inclined to not believe him. How about you?
Yeah, I thought from the very beginning when he was caught last year and then he got off on the technicality that he should have been banned right then and there. And especially them getting on I think it was like a FedEx guy or something like that for mishandling the sample. I think at this point that FedEx guy deserves what Ryan Braun should make the rest of this year, where he's being suspended. I think that guy who was chastised for supposedly mishandling the sample should get what Ryan Braun was supposed to make. Because now he has been caught, now it has been proven, and Ryan Braun is now not able to play the rest of this year because he's suspended.
And one of the interesting things to come about all this is the fact that Ryan Braun, as he kept on denying, A-Rod is still going to come down get the most out. They're talking maybe even if he even survives this, if the Yankees can't find their way out of the contract, they might be in luck anyways, because they're talking maybe a lifetime ban. We could have seen A-Rod in the Yankees outfit for the last time. Is that a good thing for the sport of baseball, or is it bad?
I've never been a big Yankees fan, but it's not fair to the Yankees fans. They should be able to see their favorite players and see them on the field all the time. But at this point, I think they probably, along with probably A-Rod's teammates, the coaches, everyone else involved, are thinking, hey, after all of this, you deserve what you've gotten. And, they're probably ready to move on, with or without him.
And here's the thing also, I think when you talk about Yankees, George Steinbrenner really kind of did a number on the Yankees fans, I think, because what he did was, it doesn't really matter if you win. In the culture in New York, they just want to see stars. Big B and PostMaster can think what they want because they've said it before. But it's not about the Yankees winning in New York, no matter how much people want to believe it. It's about stars. You look at, and you can look at the contracts of the people they have up there. And I had it right. I misspoke, but I had it right. They're treated like celebrities. You have $250 million to A-Rod. You have Derek Jeter, who didn't even play in an All-Star game. He did not play leading up to the All-Star game. It's one of those things, and it doesn't matter, it seems to be, when you're in New York. All the better if you win and you're a Yankee. But the fact of the matter is, right now, since Steinbrenner took over, he brainwashed your fans, Yankees. He brainwashed you because now all you want to see is stars. It's hard to hear, but I don't think I'm wrong on that. Do you think I don't think I'm wrong? Look at their roster. You can buy anybody. The fact that you can buy anybody proves my point. It's not about winning anymore in New York. It is about star power. Am I wrong?
I don't think you're wrong. I think the same could be said for both Los Angeles teams, the Dodgers and the Angels, because they spent out the wahoo over the offseason to get all these big name stars, and the Dodgers have actually picked it up recently, but especially at the beginning of the year, and the Angels still continue to struggle with big names like Pujols, Josh Hamilton. The Dodgers are struggling, with Matt Kemp and the number of stars that they've had.
And you bring a very good point with LA. It's not like Yasiel Puig is the highest paid guy in LA, but he certainly is their biggest star. And that's exactly what the Yankees need. The Yankees need to drop some of these names. Sure, Yasiel Puig is a great name now, but who was he 6 weeks ago? No one really knew. And now everybody knows who Yasiel Puig is. So the Yankees can win without star power, or without big name stars. The Yankees can win with good baseball players, and that is what I think needs to happen. Because no one's pointed a finger at Yasiel Puig. No one's pointed a finger at anybody else. It is the stars of the day that are getting the fingers pointed at. You got Cabrera, Rodriguez, Braun. Braun's the only last name in that whole thing that doesn't mix, and that's not a racist comment. It's the fact that why not? Why not cheat if you're... They did a segment on this in ESPN, and I completely agree. They did it about 2 months ago. They said the fact that where the last names originate from, it's worth it just to cheat, just to get out of the Dominican, because the neighborhoods there are a little bit in rubble. And I said this on the show not too long ago. The cameraman knows. Big B's running the camera right now. He knows that I said this exact same thing, and I stand by it. And now after this biogenesis breakout, it's still the same proof in the pudding. The fact that it is worth it to cheat to try to get out of the Dominican. And what baseball needs to do now to really clean this up, and I want to wrap this up here in just a second, and I want to see if you agree with this. What baseball needs to do to clean this up is to be harsh. I'm not talking 80 games or 100 games. I'm talking 2 and 3 seasons. Start really clamping down. If you want to save baseball, one of the dirtiest sports in America, in the world even, you have got to clamp down more and more on PEDs. I'm talking, like I said, 2 and 3 seasons. I know it sounds outlandish, but would you really, really, really risk all that money that you would lose over 2 or 3 seasons to continue cheating in baseball for using PEDs? Do you think that's too harsh?
What I would do, something I'd actually read today, is I would say any first time mistakes that are made, because sometimes they are mistakes, they get a 100-game suspension, because if they know going into it they're going to miss over half a season just by one mistake, more people aren't going to do it. And then second time, no 3 strikes for baseball on this one. After the second time, you're done. You're done.
I like that. I actually like that a little bit better than my idea, to be honest with you. And I don't say that very often. But it's one of those things that I like that. But the fact of the matter is, baseball, you've got to get more serious. We miss the good old days. It's a travesty that Babe Ruth's record was ever beaten. It's a travesty that a lot of these records held by the classics were ever beaten. You're going to see Brian Cannon a little bit later on today for OVW coverage from later on tonight. Bring it back over here. Quick wild card. If you are in Louisville, you are a Louisville fan of Triple Threat Talk, Louisville affiliate, check out FanFest Comic-Con going on downtown this weekend. The Doctor will be there. I think Big B will be there. No, Big B won't be there. The Doctor will be there. If you're there, stop by, check it out. Don't be afraid to come up and say hi. I only play a jerk on TV, I promise you. Anyways, don't shake your head, you bastard. This is the Doctor, Gary the Doctor Lockard, signing off, handing it back to my co-host Big B and Postmaster Jones. Guys, take it away. I hope you're having a good show without me. Peace.
And welcome back right here on Triple Threat Talk. This is Big B, Brandon here alongside Jimmy, Postmaster Jones Biggers, and Gary the Dr. Lockard. One date on the data game, so hopefully next week we will find out all about his date. I'm not going to go any Bob Eubanks on you, but let's move on.
During the break, we were discussing that we both were astonished at the fact that the president doesn't get to keep these items.
All those things, the stuff you got from the Ravens, the Cardinals,
the slugger bat, the jersey, all that.
So and he's out of office, 2016. So another 3 more years. We're going to the Super Bowl next 3 years. all these championships, and he doesn't get to keep any of these things. His name is on it.
I know. I don't get it either. I don't understand why. But
make a stand. Say yes, we can. Take the stuff with you.
Yeah, it could be, but definitely a big honor. Everybody was thrilled to be there.
Definitely was awesome to see you.
He even made a funny joke as to say Rick Pitino is the only coach in college basketball history to take 2 different teams and win a national title.
Which is true.
And he said, but I won't mention the other one here.
And we all know that.
But that was a nice little funny jab by the president, definitely. Yeah. So with that, this past weekend at the Murfield Golf Links in jolly old Scotland, it was not Tiger Woods. That's okay though.
No, but you picked him.
But my second pick, other than Tiger, and I gave you all the reasons why.
If I can find the clip, I will put it in here right now. But if not,
but I will say, if I was picking somebody else, I'd go with Phil Mickelson, and the reason why is because he just won the Irish Open.
He's got a little moment.
I'm sorry, the Scottish Open.
Scottish Open.
This past weekend. So he's already been over in Europe. He's already accustomed to the weather conditions, the time change.
Because I told Dad that I thought that was good. I thought that was a very good strategy for Phil getting there.
Exactly.
And the kids are with him too. So the wife and kids are there. He's accustomed to the time change, the weather.
His sleep pattern won't be off. He'll already be raring to go. And so I'll take Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods.
He said something so perfect and so eloquently correct that I have to give him praise for it. He picked Tiger because he's a Tiger fan. No hate against that. But he said he also picked Phil Mickelson, which did win. He said because Phil was already over there practicing, getting used to the weather, and that really paid dividends because he played a heck of a round on Sunday, scoring a 66.
He matched the tournament record, 66. Dustin Johnson also shot a 66 on Thursday, the opening round. But Phil Mickelson was like a runaway train on Sunday. He was just outstanding. That was some killer golf, and some of the shots he was making. Excuse me. I watched it from 8:30 a.m. Saturday till the trophy was given out on Sunday.
All the way through?
Well, but I'm just saying, I watched the whole day's coverage Saturday.
That's a long time to watch TV.
Yeah, I know.
Get out more. Come on.
I know. Sorry. I like golf.
The thing I didn't watch it. I watched towards the end. I think I went to play tennis that day, and then I came back and saw who won. The thing that was surprising to me, Phil entered Sunday, the final round, tied for 9th, and he won by 3 strokes. Really?
Everybody was struggling, but him. Lee Westwood had a 2-shot lead.
Yeah.
He was had a 2-shot lead over Tiger Woods.
Time lead on Sunday.
And shoot, the guy that was paired with Lee Westwood, but
I know.
Hunter Mahan, I believe. 2 shots back, but he struggled. He finished 6th, which is not bad. He finished 6th. But he struggled on Sunday, as did a lot of players. And Phil Mickelson, he was just on it. The shot on 16 was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it was a good golf game. It was a lot of ups and downs. Earlier in the round, Adam Scott had a couple shot lead.
That course is tough.
That was a rough course.
The weather was,
The weather wasn't bad. Tiger said afterwards on Sunday he thought that the greens would be more faster, being Sunday, they let him play fast, but in fact it looked like they added more water, and that was the biggest part of his struggles. He was playing for them to be faster, and in fact they were actually slower. So I think that contributed to a lot of people. I think a lot of people thought that the greens were going to be playing faster instead of slower. That definitely changes things for sure.
For me, the things I noticed, for one, last week I said this, and I'm not an expert on golf by any means of the thing. I don't know, how golf, or I don't know anything about golf in terms of how you analyze it and how Gary analyzes it. But I did say last week that Rory McIlroy wouldn't win, and I think Gary kind of picked. Did he?
Gary, I remember the picks tenfold.
Yeah.
I picked Tiger only because I'm a Tiger fan, but my non-fan pick was Phil, who won. Gary picked Sergio and Rory. How's that looking for you?
Rory didn't make the final.
And you picked Ernie Els and Justin Rose, which Ernie Els finished. He made it to the final round, but Justin Rose, I didn't really think much of him.
I don't know. The thing is, Rory McIlroy, And I think this is more evident now. He is hopelessly, romantically in love with Caroline Wozniacki. He is distracted. He's got other things on his mind. He didn't make the final day.
No.
He didn't make Sunday.
He didn't make the weekend.
No.
He got cut before Saturday.
So he got to have a nice weekend with his girlfriend. I mean, that's kind of a stupid excuse, but it's not that far-fetched. It's really happening. I think he's more focused on other things, because I've never seen Roy play that bad in my life. And he was supposed to be the next great, thing, whatever. And then Tiger Woods, he is never, ever going to win a major again, because this is what happens. He plays well, and he was telling me on Facebook that he's in the lead, and he's playing great. I was like, I cannot believe what I'm hearing.
He was. I mean, Saturday, he was playing. Saturday, if you would have been watching Saturday like I was, even though he did finish two behind,
right.
He was playing great on Saturday. Yeah. He was playing the irons well. He was making some long putts. He was looking really good.
But then Sunday became a typical Tiger. Tiger. He folded.
Like an Italian beach chair.
And I'm a firm believer. I will stand by it. I don't think he wins another major. I really don't, because this is his MO now. This is what he does. He plays so great, and then he gets to the final day and he folds. And it's just how he is. And then I was watching on Sunday, he was cursing on the course. He was like saying, gee, damn it, and people were hearing him, and golf was being a quiet sport.
He was cussing. There was a couple times they got through on the TV.
So, I mean, they did get through the TV.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, the announcers made a comment at one time, surely Tiger knows there's microphones everywhere.
Yeah, I hope so. He was loud. Like, you can audibly hear him.
The one thing I'll say, the biggest disagreement with you or Gary or anybody that says he will never win a major, he has, I'm gonna say, he about 10 years of prime left.
Really?
Well, I'm just taking.
Isn't he starting?
I'd say he has about. So he has roughly, because they were talking about this the other day, and I totally agree. He has about 40. No, that he'll probably play.
How old is he now?
30, he's in his 30s. I'm not sure.
Mid-30s, like 34,
yeah,
35.
Somewhere in that area. He has about 40 majors left in his prime career. I don't think he's going to go 0 for 40.
Well, I mean, as you get older, we're obviously the story coming up here about tennis. When you get older, sometimes you don't win as much.
I know, but I don't see him batting at 0 for 40 majors.
I'm just saying, though, it seems like the last, ever since he had that public issue with his wife.
I agree.
Every single major he's had since that incident, he wins tournaments. He's not like he's not winning.
And he's still number one in the world.
When he gets to majors, he plays well, and then suddenly he just completely collapses.
He does it to himself. It's the pressure.
Well, that's the thing.
He puts too much pressure on himself. He needs to just go out there and pretend it's the John Deere Classic and not the British Open.
He can't do that.
He can't. In his mindset, he's like, oh my God, I gotta win.
Because you were telling me, I was surprised. You were telling me he was in the lead, and he was playing well. And then Sunday, he does what he typically does. He completely falls apart.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. But congratulations to Phil Mickelson. He is third major win.
Major.
His third different major.
Right, his fifth overall.
He's still yet to win the U.S. Open. He's won the PGA, the Masters, and now the British Open. He said this was the hardest one because he never thought he would get to this one.
Yeah, he played great.
It definitely cements his legacy and definitely puts him over the top to be Hall of Fame worthy.
Yeah,
I have no doubts in my mind he's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
He played one of the greatest rounds in the history of golf.
It was outstanding to watch.
Yeah, it was just unbelievable. The fact how hard that course is, and he played at 66, that's just phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. Some baseball news before we get to the bad baseball news. Some more bad baseball news. Atlanta Braves starting pitcher Tim Hudson out for the year due to an ankle injury. Big B, roll the clip here, and I discretionally caution you to, if you're squeamish, avert your eyes, but take a look.
So watch the clip if you want.
It was a bang-bang play. He was running to get Eric Young Jr. out at first base. Of the Mets. He stepped on the bag right about the same time that Eric Young went to step with his ankle, and his cleat right on the ankle. It
Shattered
was
it.
nasty. Like, the first time I saw it, I dropped my phone. I was like, oh my God.
When you see an injury like that, you feel it in your own body, so it's not something you want to watch over and over again.
No, it's definitely not you wouldn't want to see, but definitely our thoughts and prayers for a speedy recovery.
He's out for the season.
He is out for the season, which is no surprise there. It's definitely going to hurt the Braves for sure. He's one of their best starting pitchers. And going to hurt, but luckily for them, as a team standpoint, they've got off for a pretty hot start, and they have about a 7-game lead.
Right.
Speaking of hot, the LA Dodgers are on a roll. They went from the basement...
And Matt Kemp's not playing.
No, and Matt Kemp's not playing. They went from the basement to the top, from the outhouse to the penthouse. They are just been on a roll with... and I don't see them losing now, the division. I think with Clayton Kershaw and Zach Greinke as their starting two top pitchers.
The Giants are a very difficult team to figure out. Last year, they won the World Series. This year, they're not even close to first place.
They do that. You remember when they won it a couple years ago? The next year, they were like nowhere to be seen. Yeah. It's weird. It's definitely weird. Yeah. The big baseball story of the week, Mr. PED. Barry Bonds the second, I guess you could call him.
Wow. Barry Bonds never said anything like this.
Ryan Braun suspended the final 66 games
way
season
too easy.
Without pay.
Still way too easy.
He lost about $3.7 million in contract money, I believe.
Chump change.
Yeah. So... He's the first to get struck down. He's the first to get struck down by the biogenesis case. What are your thoughts here?
Ryan Braun is a joke. Ryan Braun is what is wrong with baseball. Obviously, he was found positive for these drugs. Mm-hmm. Then had the audacity to go out on the field in front of all these reporters and say the things that he said, like, I swear my life is never after my body, and I'm always thinking of the positive, and blah, blah, blah. Complete garbage. Hogwash. And Aaron Rodgers bet his salary on it. I don't think he's going to own up to it, because I don't think he's going to.
I don't think his wife would be too happy about that if he's married.
Yeah. So, but, you know, the rest of the season is not good enough. Absolutely not. Because the Brewers aren't even in contention anyway. They're not going to make the playoffs, so it's not like it matters. And he's going to come back next year, and he's going to get embraced by the team because that's the only really good player they have in Ryan Braun. So, am I saying that they should take away the MVP of him and give him Matt Kemp? No, they should just scratch it for that year. I don't think Matt Kemp wants it that way. I don't blame him. He doesn't want.
There's talk they may do that.
Well, that's their decision. But I don't think Matt Kemp wants the MVP on a technicality. I don't blame him. Ryan Braun is a joke. There's nothing more I can say. If I was a Brewers fan, I would pick another team. I really would, because it's not. I mean, people have done stars before. McGuire, Sosa, Bonds, Giambi. They've all done it. But just the way he completely defended himself is what just makes me sick.
I didn't do these things.
It's because he did them, and he won his appeal. He denied these things. Like, I swear, like I said before, he swears on life and blah blah blah. And then it's just like, what kind of person are you? I mean, you're an athlete, you're supposed to be looked up by, and it makes me completely, utterly sick, and I think he should be suspended for the whole season next year.
I wonder how in the world he got around winning his appeal to begin with. I thought it was ridiculous that he won his appeal in the first place.
Everyone believed him.
And everybody did believe him.
Because they were saying.
I remember hearing on TV and the radio, Ryan Braun's telling the truth. Yeah, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy. He's a stand-up guy. I mean, he wouldn't do that.
To me, he's in the same class as Rafael Palmeiro. Rafael Palmeiro
shook his finger in Congress.
The guy never went to service. Period. Liar. Come on, man.
Full of it. So it's definitely not the greatest thing, and now A-Rod is getting a whole heap of mess.
A-Rod is in big trouble. I mean, this whole thing with A-Rod is just bad. I mean,
A-Rod might as well just...
He might face there's rumors of he might face a lifetime ban, which for A-Rod, the way his career is going to end, he ends the career with the Yankees by playing so bad, he gets benched for Raul Ibanez, who's now in Seattle hitting home runs for them, and he gets benched for a guy that produces, and they win the series because of Ibanez.
Right.
A-Rod couldn't produce, so Girardi had to make a decision and said, you know what, you're out, Ibanez is in. And Ibanez had some of the greatest home runs in the history of the postseason just because they were so amazing that he was able to do it night in and night out.
And there's actually talk now that the Yankees may discipline A-Rod themselves before the MLB even rules on this subject. Yeah. So it's definitely a slippery slope when it comes to all these steroid issues. I'm sure there'll be several other names, but I do know that Ryan Braun and A-Rod are the two biggest names, I believe, with this biogenesis case
right now.
as of right now. So we'll keep a close watch on this, see if what develops down the road. But we'll take a quick break here. When we get back, a little NASCAR, some tennis, and football. We're talking football.
Football's almost back.
Yeah, we'll be right back. Triple Threat Talk.
Hey Cam, thanks a lot for coming to my school today.
No problem, Nate.
I promise to exercise and eat right.
Don't forget 60 minutes of play a day, right?
And I'll grow up to be big and strong like you.
Absolutely.
And play in the NFL.
Yes, sir.
And be drafted number 1.
Maybe.
Become the starting quarterback of the Panthers.
Okay.
You can be my backup.
Excuse me?
And make Panthers fans forget about you. And become your mom's favorite player.
Whoa.
I'm just loosening my arm.
And welcome back here on Triple Threat Talk. Postmaster Jones, Jimmy Biggers, along with Big B, Brendan Amiro, rolling right on along through headlines. So NASCAR this week. The Sprint Cup Series was off this past weekend. The Nationwide Series was at Chicagoland Speedway, where Joey Logano spent his off week winning the Nationwide race.
That's a good time off.
Yeah, the lone Sprint Cup Series regular in the race wins the race. He passes his teammate Sam Hornish Jr. and Joe Gibbs Racing's Elliott Sadler to win in the final few laps there. They'll move on to the Brickyard, where they'll join the Sprint Cup Series, who took their final off weekend of the year. A Sprint Cup race every week from now through the middle of November now, so no more off weeks for them. I'll be in the Indy this week.
You'll be in the Brickyard.
Yeah,
You're in the Brickyard. You're in the Brickyard.
That's right, I'm in the Brickyard. No, I'll be there for the Nationwide race on Saturday and the Sprint Cup Series race on Sunday. So that should be a good time. But what I really want to talk about...
This is why you missed the show yesterday.
This is why we're filming today,
Thursday,
instead of Wednesday, because of this right here.
Well,
One of the reasons.
Among men.
One of the biggest things to occur in NASCAR history occurred on Wednesday night. For the first time since Richard Petty took the checkered flag on September 30th, 1970 at the North Carolina State Fairgrounds Speedway,
33 years ago.
NASCAR
43 years ago.
gets dirty.
43 years ago.
They head back to the dirt. They went to the famed dirt track known as Eldora Speedway for the Eldora Speedway 1-800 Cash Call Mud Summer Classic. And this was outstanding. It fit the bill. It was Twitter was a buzz. It was the #1 trending topic in the world the whole night. As far as everybody was tuned in. I mean, you had some guys after the race. You had a guy say, "I'm going to need this other guy's mailing address because I'm going to mail him the side of my truck," because he took it off about 3 different times throughout the night. If you get a chance, they're actually replaying the race on Speed Channel on Friday, I think at 1:30. So check it out there or find it online. It was well worth it. They went with what I loved about it too, they went with the old style way, the Saturday night shootout way of racing. They had qualifying, then they had heat races, which is a different format for NASCAR. They had 5 8-lap heat races.
This is all in one day.
Yeah, this was all in one day. This is pretty cool. So they had 5 8-lap heat races. The top 4 guys in each heat advanced to the feature. And then they had a last chance race where the guys that didn't make it into their heat, the top 4 guys advanced in that. It was 30 guys, 35 trucks trying for 30 spots. And the battle in the last chance race was so intense. This is amazing. Norm Benning is like the blue-collar NASCAR racer. He races every year. He doesn't have a sponsor, really. He's a blank red and yellow truck, older guy. He's there every week. He always comes how to find a way to make a show. But him and Clay Greenfield put on one whale of a show. And Clay Greenfield rode him into the wall the final 3 laps of the last chance race. And he said, all I did was just keep it in the gas and kept on it. And he held him off, and he even gave him the one finger salute after the race, which everybody was like, yes! You know, they're like, Stormin' Norman, you know. When it got down to the main event, it was a 150-lap race. They broke it up into 3 segments. They didn't actually make live green flag pit stops. They did a 60-lap segment, a 50-lap segment, and a 40-lap segment. And when the dirt and dust all cleared, it was Austin Dillon in the number 39 American Ethanol Chevrolet Silverado for Richard Childress Racing. You all may know Austin Dillon. That drives the number 3 car. He's famous for driving the number 3. He did pick up the win in an outstanding race. Kyle Larson was second. Ryan Newman, everybody knows who Ryan Newman is. He ran in third. So it was definitely my favorite race of the year. It was a blast to watch, and like I said, fine time to watch it because it was outstanding.
So good stuff.
Yeah. So with that, Big B, apparently you got some thoughts about Roger Federer and his struggles.
Okay, so go back Wimbledon. Federer lost the second round, and everyone, Federer's been told a long time to switch his racket because he's used the same racket for a long time. So he switches frames, and he plays in Hamburg, and he's winning and winning. He's struggling a little bit. He wins, and he loses to this guy Del Bonis, 2 tie breaks, and Del Bonis ends up losing the final to Fanini. So then fast forward to this week, they play in Gstaad in Switzerland, which is the site of Federer's first tournament 15 years ago. He played Daniel Brands again and lost in straight sets. I think it was 6-3, 6-4. And Federer's already 5th in the world, and he's playing on clay, which at this juncture right now in the season, I think is not a good idea for him, because the U.S. Open Series is around the corner. Cincinnati's in a couple weeks, and then you have all the tournaments on the hard court get ready for the U.S. Open. So I think he should be testing himself on the hard courts instead of clay. Federer is not looking too good. He's losing to people you never think he would lose to. Is him switching the racket a big change for him? I don't know. Maybe he's taking a while to get used to it. I don't know. But Federer looks really bad. I mean, could this be the start of the decline? Could this be Federer? Like sort of. It's time for him to move on. It's time for him to retire. He doesn't have.
He doesn't need the money.
No, of course not. He's the richest player in the history of the game.
Yeah. And he has endorsements out at the wazoo with Gillette, Nike. Wilson.
Rolex. That's a good sponsor to have.
Yeah.
I lost a watch. Here's another one. But yeah, Federer's, it looks bad. I mean, if he continues to play this way, I wouldn't see a point for him to continue to play if he can't compete with players like Murray, Nadal, and Djokovic, even Ferrer. It looks bad. I mean, it's a shame because he is the greatest of all time, and for him to see these struggles is bad.
The GOAT.
So another tennis news, we were talking about, I think last week or week before, I think it was last week.
Last week about Radwanska?
Radwanska, about the body issue of ESPN the magazine, and the Catholic Church kind of shunned her and cut ties with her, and she was actually upset about that. She released a statement on her Facebook page about it, saying that I think the message for the issue was kind of misinterpreted by them. It wasn't like Playboy or Maxim or Hustler or whatever. It wasn't one of those magazines. It was just to show off the athletic body of these athletes: Vernon Davis, John Isner, Radwanska, Kaepernick, among others.
Gary Player.
Hey, he's in good shape. He's in good shape for 77. But no, I think she's right. The church kind of took it the wrong way. If she was in Playboy, then they have every right to cut that. I mean, that's
a little different.
She said she didn't get paid for, which I can believe that. She didn't get paid for the issue. She wanted to show off her body and show that she's in a good athletic shape. And I think the thing got a little bit blown proportion. So
you know what?
What?
I think that ESPN should do us all a favor.
Yes.
Well, it's not a real body issue.
Oh my God.
Unless you have the body guy.
Oh
why isn't the body guy the body issue?
Oh, goodness. The body guy. The body guy. Anyway, so my final tennis story this evening was actually not on my list until about an hour and a half ago.
Late breaking news.
He was as high as 12 in the world. His ranking currently is 53, but it's going to take a huge dip now. Victor Troicki, who's another player from Serbia, along with obviously Djokovic. He won Davis Cup a couple years ago for Serbia. He was in the final match and won it for them. He's actually banned for 18 months by the ATP and the ITF, International Tennis Federation, for 18 months for failing to provide a blood sample that's in accordance with the anti-doping laws there. It's not like he was.
They're not saying he's
not saying he doped, but failing to provide a blood sample is against the rules of it, and he's facing an 18-month ban, so he's going to be gone for about a year and a half. That is a year and a half. Yeah, 18 months, a year and a half.
Yeah, a year and a half.
So he's going to lose all those points, all the prize money he accumulated. It's all gone. So that's tough. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it looks bad. It looks suspicious that maybe he was doing something because he's been around. He's been around a long time, so you should know the rules by now because they do this very often with the samples and the blood samples and asking for them to provide these.
Do you think that this is a player I haven't really heard that much about? Do you think that this could lead to a bigger name star being?
Well, he's so far the biggest name that's happened. Because there have been players that have done it, but they were like ranked in like the 200s, and no one's ever heard of him. But this guy, he was number 12 in the world. He won the Davis Cup.
What I'm asking,
he's had great success.
Do you think there's a possibility? Because within baseball,
anybody
football,
bigger than this?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I don't think tennis is that kind of sport where I don't think I highly agree with you, a Federer or a Djokovic or a Nadal or anybody that huge really get caught for that. That'd be a big shocker. That'd be one of the biggest shockers in the history of sports.
You know what I hate about baseball? Right. And not to get off topic, but think about this for a minute. To get back to this for just a few minutes, with the whole Ryan Braun, A-Rod, biogenesis, yada yada. You don't hear a lot about. You do hear, but not as many cases about PEDs and steroid use in NFL as you do in the Major League Baseball.
It happens in NFL.
A lot. Yeah, but you don't hear about it that much.
No, you don't.
Now,
you hear about more DUIs in the NFL.
Yeah, think about this, Big B. The NFL is the gladiator of all sports. It is the in the trenches, mano a mano of all sports.
Hit me, I'll hit you back.
Okay? You don't hardly hear about anything when it comes to that, okay? Baseball, what do you do? If you're playing outfield, you go out there and stand there. If the ball comes to you, I caught it.
There's sometimes, like, for example, like a no-hitter.
Yeah.
The outfielder does nothing out there. He just stands there.
He just stands there. And
he bats.
Yeah.
He bats, but it's like the field, he doesn't do anything.
That's what I'm saying. Why do baseball players feel they need to take PEDs?
For hitting.
They don't do anything.
For hitting.
It's lazy. The worst thing they have to do is feel the ball every now and then.
Sometimes they don't.
And hit. That's it. There's no reason to take PEDs. I mean, come on. Me and you could stand out there in a uniform. I can just see it now. Big B in the Mets uniform, me in the Braves uniform. We're out there at the All-Star game and the ball never goes to us. So we're just saying, hey, Big B, yeah. Hey,
what do you want to do after this? What sounds good?
You know they got to be doing that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of downtime. I don't get it. If you don't see a lot of football players doing it, and you don't see a lot of basketball players doing it, where they're running up and down the court and playing defense and shooting and blocking. Hockey. Yes, hockey. My God, that's worse than football. Yeah. And you don't hear about them.
Never. I never hear that ever.
Never. I've never heard a hockey player getting steroids or PEDs.
Martin Brodeur, PED. I never heard that.
So I don't get. Baseball is like the couch potatoes game. It's like, I don't understand.
No, if someone did it in golf, that'd be something.
Yeah, golf's different.
That'd be something.
Yeah, because golf, it's all you it's striking the ball. I get that, but I don't understand. I don't know.
But that's pretty much the tennis story I had. It's just, I don't see anyone high profile like that getting banned for it. But, you gotta follow the rules, and he's gonna lose money and points. So.
Right. So it's time. It's getting real close.
It's time for the Triple Threat Talk football special.
Without the doc, it'll be an hour less. Yes.
No,
let's not do that. So the NFL training camp opens up, and we got some bad news abound. Denver Broncos defensive standout Von Miller. Speaking of PEDs,
yeah, really.
So we'll have to sit out the first 4 games of the season. He will appeal for violating the league's substance abuse policy, which basically means PEDs or steroids. Thank you very much for that, Von Miller. Not really. Yes. I think we'll be all right, though. We do have the sheriff.
But he can't play defense.
No, but
they're supposed to sign someone from San Diego to fill
he can score enough points.
Yeah.
A little bit of interesting news out of Seattle because we're not quite sure the effect. They haven't really said the seriousness yet.
It's very fresh.
But Percy Harvin apparently may have a slight tear in his hip.
Right.
They don't know if he's going to require surgery.
Pete Carroll addressed the media today after training camp. I watched training. I watch everything Seahawks. Just trust me. I watched the training camp, and after the camp, they took an hour break and they had a press conference. And Pete Carroll said, he has a slight tear in his hip. May require surgery. Harvin's going to go to the doctors on Monday, get a second opinion. Hopefully, it's nothing too serious because he's a big piece of the Seahawks Super Bowl chances puzzle. Because they gave him draft picks for him. He's they pay him a lot of money. So hopefully, it pans out for the Seahawks.
Right. So with that, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap up NFL talk and we'll get into that sport known as wrestling right after this. Stay tuned. Triple Threat Talk.
We really wanted to take a relaxing trip to Florida, just to unwind.
But we can only afford one trip this year, and his high school reunion is coming up in Seattle.
Everyone's going. Then we heard about Hotwire and realized we could actually afford to take both trips.
See, when really nice hotels have unsold rooms, they use Hotwire to fill them. So we got our 4-star hotels for half price.
I should have been voted most likely to travel.
HOTWIRE, hotwire.com.
Save big on car rentals, too, from $11.95 a day.
And welcome back here on Triple Threat Talk. Postmaster Jones, Jimmy Biggers, along with my esteemed co-host, Big B, Brandon DeMuro.
I'm esteemed when Gary's on.
And during the break, we were discussing the idea and possibility of marketing PEDS dispensers. Not to get confused with PEDS dispensers.
Load them up and pop them. That's terrible.
I mean, they'll be very popular in baseball stadiums everywhere.
2 for 10.
Get your PEDS in.
Obviously, that's a big concern for Seattle. We were talking about before the break. And there's a lot of people on the Seahawks PUP list, performance, unable to play list. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully they can, get this going because, it seems like the year for Seattle to really make a huge run. A lot of people, not just me because I'm a huge fan, it seems like a lot of people are thinking this is the year for them. So we'll see what happens.
A little 49ers news for the doc. I know he's not here, but it'll make him happy to know that Colin Kaepernick has the number 1 jersey sales amongst all NFL players right now.
Number 1 is Kaepernick. Number 2 is Russell Wilson.
Yes.
Number 3 is Robert Griffin III.
Yep.
I think 4 is Adrian Peterson.
And Peyton Manning.
5 is Manning.
Yeah.
I think Tannehill was 6. I think Brady was 7. Rodgers was 8. There's a couple of people in there too. But yeah, pretty good.
So it's good to know that the 49ers are first at something. I think they're still waiting for the lights to malfunction again in the Superdome. I'm not quite sure.
Someone needs to pay their bills.
Matty Ice.
He can buy himself some ice now. He can buy
all kinds of ice.
He can coat his car in ice if he wants to.
He can be flossing for days.
Yeah, really.
5 years, $103.75 million average out to an average salary of $20.75 million.
It's not enough.
$60 million the first 3 years. And what do you think, Big B? Is it well worth the contract? Is it worth the money?
I'll say this much: if Seattle didn't fold in that game, if they played defense at the end, and Atlanta kicked that field goal at the end, if they didn't win that game, I don't think he gets paid because they would have said yet again, Matt Ryan's not win a playoff game. Yet again, it happened. So if Seattle wins that game and they play San Francisco in the NFC Championship game, I don't think Matt Ryan gets his contract. I don't.
Interesting stat about Matt Ryan. Since Matt Ryan has come into the league, being selected the third pick, 2008, I think, in the NFL draft. He is the leading quarterback. Now, we're talking about Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Roethlisberger, Aaron Flacco, Joe Flacco. He's ahead of them in this stat, and this is astonishing. Matt Ryan leads the league in fourth quarter comebacks.
Pretty good.
And he had 6 last season. He led the league last year. He had 6 fourth quarter comebacks, including against, unfortunately, your Seattle Seahawks. Yeah. But it's part of it, It's
part of the game.
It does happen. Trust me.
See, it bums you out then, but now you're like, okay, it's new season, just let it go.
I'm still trying to figure out how we left the guy 5 yards wide open and, I'm like, hi, Mom! I still get to figure that out.
You're laughing at him back then, you're like, jeez, Louis.
No, back then it was more like, beep, beep, beep.
Smashing things, breaking stuff.
But so a lot of it's good for him.
Yep.
that locks him up. I think it was a fine idea by the Falcons.
Do you agree though? If they win that game against Seattle, he gets paid.
I think he still does.
Do you think as much?
Maybe not as much, but he still gets paid because I think even if he had lost that game, he's still the guy that you want to build your team around.
Right. And they got a great team.
And they do have
Gonzalez
a great
came
team.
back.
Yeah.
They got Julio
Which was a
Jones.
shock.
Julio Jones is fantastic.
I mean,
Roddy White.
They were 10 yards away from the Super Bowl. Yeah. 10 yards. That's
They got a team.
So they can do it. They could do it. It's probably going to come down to Seattle, San Francisco, and Atlanta again.
Yeah, I think so. Green Bay maybe, but I don't. There's one dark horse in the NFC I'm looking at. I'm not going to reveal it.
Spoiler.
I have two dark horses.
Leaving us hanging.
Both divisions.
One other quick note before we move on to wrestling. I wanted to just throw this out there. If you haven't seen it, Bill Belichick.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Thank you.
Held a press conference yesterday, and he addressed the Aaron Hernandez situation.
I thought it was very well done.
Were you surprised that he addressed the situation?
I think he was going to address it anyway because of the media. So, I think it was proper for him to address it because it's obviously something out there that he should address. I think he handled it great. He said what he needed to say. Now it's time for them to move on and play football. I think that they don't want to deal with it anymore. I don't blame them.
Right.
Aaron Hernandez, his court hearing got pushed back to the 22nd of August, so that's going to take a little while to figure out where he's going.
Right.
But I think
we know where he's going.
Well, just how long he's going, anyway.
Right.
But I think he did a good job. I think he handled it perfectly, and I think for him not to talk about it, I think would have been him avoiding it. So.
See, I disagree here. I kind of agree with Mike Golick. He said yesterday on the show he didn't have to say a word about it. Because the owner of the team already
Robert Kraft already said something.
Robert Kraft already said something. He could have. All Belichick could have said was, the organization has already gave their opinion and their thoughts about, what happened.
He didn't delve a lot into it.
No,
he just said what he had to say.
But I was surprised he gave because you know how Belichick is.
He's a very quiet guy.
He's quiet, very abrasive, secluded. He doesn't answer a lot of questions. And like in the Tebow press conference, I don't know. We're not talking about that. Move on. It's like
that's typical Honey.
Yeah, like in anything though. I mean, a typical press conference with Belichick, usually you get 2 to 3 word answers about something.
They'll talk about nothing really.
He doesn't go into detail.
He's a yes/no man.
Yeah, he doesn't go into detail a lot.
He's a yes or no man.
He gives you very short answers.
Yes.
Speaking of a guy who's a yes/no man.
Yes.
We got some big stuff regarding Daniel Bryan here in a little bit, but first, we want to take it all the way to our good friend, the Brian Cannon.
Hopefully this video's on 25 minutes.
For a little OVW blog spot, OV Mania talk. So take it away, Brian Cannon.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Another edition of OVW Mania here on Triple Threat Talk. I am Brian Cannon. This week I'm going to be talking about the latest edition of OVW TV, which was episode 726. Filmed at the Davis Arena Wednesday, July 17th, the night before TNA Impact Wrestling came to town. It was released the following day, of course, on ovwrestling.com and blip.tv. I'll get into TNA Impact later because, of course, I went there with the Triple Threat Talk guys. It was a lot of fun. But first, going through the OVW television episode, it opened up with Jay Bradley coming out. He talked about Jamin Olivencia signing the contract last week and their match coming up at SNS, and he says that he knows why Jamin passed out. It's because he was scared of having to face someone twice his size, and he kept calling him Nacho Oliveras once again. Jamin came out and he said that the contract that Jay Bradley was holding was phony, and said that he didn't agree to any of the stipulations, and that he knows it, Jay Bradley knows it, all the fans know it. And he said that he brought someone in to help litigate the contract, and he brought out TNA Impact star Joseph Park. Joseph came to the ring and said that, as he read through it, he said, wait a second, it says if Jamin gets disqualified, you automatically win the title. if you get counted out, you automatically win the title. And then it also had a thing in there about getting timeouts anytime he please. And Jay Bradley said, well, yeah, I'm a big guy. I've got to stay hydrated. And Joseph Park said, no, this isn't a contract that's worth anything. And he tears it up. And Jay Bradley tells Jamin, he goes, well, you had to get somebody big to fight your battles for you. He goes, I could beat you all if I had a partner for myself. And as he's saying that, Marcus Anthony makes his way out to the ring and joins Jay Bradley's side. And Jay says, well, I guess I've made a friend, and I guess I'll see you all in the ring tonight. So that set up the main event for the evening. Jay Bradley teamed with Marcus Anthony to take on Jamin Olivencia and Joseph Park. Later on, Shiloh Jones of the Marauders, who's kind of became the leader, so even having Flash with them, has kind of stepped up and taken charge of the new group. He fought in singles action, defeating newcomer Yaden Matthews. There was a bunch of backstage scenes throughout the night where Jesse Goddard was changing in the restroom as part of his punishment. We didn't know exactly what he was changing into, but they showed a bunch of wrestlers keep going in there and laughing and pointing at him. Next up, TNA Knockout and Knockout referee ODB came out. She talked about how she started basically the women's division in OVW. She was the first ever OVW Women's Champion, where she won the title in a tournament in Rio de Janeiro. She talks about being arrested at a Six Flags Kentucky Kingdom show. She talks about how she got to wrestle with the likes of Beth Phoenix, Serena, Katie Lee, Alicia Fox, Kelly Kelly, just to name a few. She said that tonight she felt like getting physical and wanted the toughest woman in the locker room to come out. So the current OVW Women's Champion Trina made her way out and said that she was the toughest. And then Lady Tapa came out and said that no, she was. And they had an argument. It was kind of funny. ODB looked up at Lady Tapa and said, "Don't eat me." ODB came up with the idea, how about we have a three-way to find out who the toughest is, which Lady Top ended up picking up the win. She got the pin over Trina after hitting her with a big boot, which would lead me to believe that at the next SNS we'll probably see a title match for the OVW Women's Championship between Trina and Lady Tapa. Earlier in the night, there was also a backstage scene where Randy Royal said that he wanted Rudy to give up his shot for the OVW television title against Dylan Bostic later in the night, which Rudy refused to do. And Royal said, we can either do this the easy way or the hard way. And Rudy said, you can do it any way you choose. He goes, but I'm going out there and taking my title shot. So that match happens. Rudy ends up beating Dylan Bostic by disqualification because naturally Randy Royal came out and attacked Rudy's switchblade. Tony Gunn then came out with a sling on one arm and tried fighting Randy Royal off, but Royal ended up getting the better of him and throwing him into the barricade wall twice. Then Tony had to be helped to the back. Next up, Dean Hill got in the ring, and it was time for Jesse Goddard's punishment. He didn't seem like he wanted to come out. The curtain shook a lot before he finally made his way out in a pink bunny suit. And he said that he's not a loser, and he kept telling Dean Hill he hated him, and this is all his fault. And Dean told him that he has to wear that pink bunny suit until he wins another match. He said he could end up getting rid of the bunny suit as early as tonight because he had a match coming up next. He said, but he said if you take that suit off before you win a match, he goes, you will be fined, fired, and you will lose your TNA contract. And then Jesse's opponent is a newcomer Australian named Jack Dundee, and it was basically a squash. Dundee beat him. Great looking moonsault off the top rope to finish Jesse off. So the newcomer Jack Dundee gets the win, which means Jesse still has to keep wearing the bunny suit. And then in the main event, Jay Bradley, Marcus Anthony beat Joseph Park and Jamin Olivencia. Marcus actually had the win. He hit Jamin with the Gamma Punch, And at the 2 count, Jay Bradley pulled Marcus out of the ring because he didn't want Marcus to get the win. They kind of push and shove each other, and Marcus ends up getting out of the ring. Jay ends up connecting with the boomstick on Jamin and getting the pin himself. So it was a good showing for Marcus too, though. So regardless of what happens next between Jay Bradley and Jamin Olivencia, Marcus is solidifying himself as a top contender for the heavyweight championship. For other results for the night, the dark match results, as well as, of course, my top 20s, any other breaking news. Don't forget you can check out ovwmania.blogspot.com. Got all kinds of great stuff up there. And I'm going to take a quick break, and when I come back, I'm going to talk about that TNA show and a couple other little tidbits, so stick with us. Okay, so that commercial you just saw was for Saturday Night Special. The next one comes up August 3rd, 2013. We already know that Jamin Olivencia defends the OVW Heavyweight Championship against Jay Bradley. Some other matches that I think could happen. Nothing else has been confirmed yet, but I think Trina might be defending the Women's Championship against Lady Tapa. I would say there's a chance we might see the OVW Southern Tag Team Champions, Ali and Michael Hayes, defend against some combination of the Marauders. And unless they split Bostic up and start having him feud with someone else for the OVW television title, I would say there's a chance that he could end up in like maybe a 3-way match for the TV title that involves both Tony Gunn and Randy Royal. If not, I can see Bostic defending against whoever supposedly the number 1 contender is, and Gunn and Royal having some kind of brawl or no disqualification match, something along those lines. As far as TNA Impact Destination X, wow, it was a great night. First of all, I enjoyed the company of the Triple Threat Talk guys. It was a lot of fun being there with them. Plus, we saw all kinds of OVW people throughout the night, whether it was fans. The Assassin was actually there walking around with his mask on. I was also beside 2 great fans, Nathan Karpinski and his son Chance, who we call Micro, which is a lot of fun hanging out with them too. We went out and ate at Steak and Shake after the show. If TNA did every show like they did the other night in Louisville, there's no telling how much better they could do in the ratings every week. I don't know if it was just the hot crowd. I don't know if it was being there live, but I thought it was one of the best shows they've had, not only this year, but in the last couple years. I haven't watched them that closely up until the last couple years when OVW had joined on as the developmental territory. But I thought this was a fantastic show. Everything from the X Division matches, especially the Ultimate X match, which hasn't actually aired yet. It was on the second taping, but the winners of the first 3 X Division matches on the first show, which was Manic, Greg Marichulo, which was the former Trent Beretta, and who else was it? Sanjay Dutt, compete for the X Division title, and I thought that was an incredible match. The fact that they actually had Chris Sabin get the victory over Bully Ray, and he's your new TNA World Heavyweight Champion, was incredible in person. And I've said it before, I think TNA needs to figure out how they're going to do their finances and spending. But, I mean, there's nothing more loud and incredible as the reception, even in the age he is now, for Hulk Hogan live. I found myself, cheering and applauding. I mean, he's done a lot for wrestling. I just don't think that he needs to be in the ring. If he stays in the general manager role and doesn't take up too much time on Impact every week, I'm fine with that. But like I said, I still think TNA needs to keep investing in their young up-and-coming talents, especially the X Division stars, because apparently that was one of the highest-rated impacts in a long time. And with it, the first show being the Destination X and focusing on a lot of those guys, that kind of tells you something right there. So it was a fantastic show. I mean, the whole night, the crowd was loud, rowdy. Apparently it came through real well on TV too, from what I've heard from most people. I've seen comments here and there, but I think a lot of those comments are people who, regardless of what you say, or if you took them to a show and it was the very best show TNA's ever put on, I still think they would say, oh, I don't like it, just because they're either WWE fans or just like to poop on TNA. So there's some people I just don't think you'll ever win over. But I know that the other Triple Threat guys had said that they weren't expecting a lot going into it either, and I think they were all very impressed and really enjoyed the show as well. So it was a great night. I wish we would have saw some more OVW stars, but I know there was a lot of them backstage because we saw them come out after the show. And I think there's a chance we might be seeing some of them very soon in the future getting a chance on TNA Impact Wrestling. So we can only hope. Don't forget to check out ovwrestling.com for some upcoming events besides their TV shows, the SNS coming up on August 3rd. They've got some other cool things coming up. I know they've got a homecoming coming up soon. They've got something they're going to start doing once a month called Old School, where they're going to do focus on more wrestling from like the 70s and 80s. Think, back to like the USWA days down at the Louisville Gardens. And then they've also got a show coming up called No Holds Barred, where it's going to feature Danny Davis, Rip Rogers, Trailer Park Trash, Nick Dinsmore. They're just going to get in the ring and tell stories about their careers. Now, it is an 18 and over show because they said some things could get explicit, but it sounds interesting. Especially if you were fans back in the day and wanted to hear about what happened. I guess they'll talk about things that happened backstage on the road. Probably some things just generally in life that don't even have to do with wrestling. So it could be kind of a cool event to be at. And finally, I would like to send thanks out to Terry Bodie because, as always, each and every week he's plugging my website. Chris Sharp is always retweeting and sharing things on Twitter and Facebook to help helping promote OVW. And then, of course, a big thanks to the Triple Threat Talk guys, Big B, PostMaster Jones, and the Doctor, not only for allowing me to do these videos each and every week here on Triple Threat Talk, but just getting to hang out with them the other night was a lot of fun as well. We need to do that more often. We've been getting together occasionally for the WWE pay-per-views, but it was a lot of fun the other night, and thank you all very much for joining me. It was awesome. So I think that'll pretty much wrap it up for tonight. So we're going to send it back to the studio. Have a great night, and I'll see y'all again next week for episode 109, because I think this is for episode 108 of Triple Threat Talk. Bye.
Good stuff.
As always, good stuff. We want to thank him and all the fine folks at OVW.
Yeah.
Terry and Cheryl Bodie.
Yeah.
Frank Miller, Michael Hayes, Muhammad Ali Baez. We could go all
Taylor Hendricks,
Marty
Loveless,
the Bunny, Jesse Goddard,
yes,
the Freak Rob Terry. I mean, we
Hop
along Goddards. Yes, I'm gonna tell him that. I'm gonna send him a message.
I'm sure he won't like that.
He probably won't, but I'm gonna send him a message later tonight when I get home on Facebook. I'm gonna say, hey, while you're wearing this bunny suit, I think you should tell the ring announcer to call you Hop Along Goddard.
That would be hilarious. Acronym for that is HAG.
That's even funnier. That's great.
Anyway, speaking of OVW,
yes. You all went this week.
Yes, made our triumphant return. Gary, the Doctor, went there I think a couple months ago. This is the first time I've went all year.
I haven't been yet.
Yeah, so it was nice to see all the same people again. We were, obviously having fun with Josh and Sharp, and they were like surprised to see us. And then the funny thing happened that night. We're good friends with a lot of wrestlers. We've been there for so long, so we've garnered these relationships with a lot of the people. And two of the people that we know, like personally, are Joe Rosa, who's VIP, and Muhammad Ali Baez. And they had the match last night. It was a dark match, the final match of the night after the tapings were over. And we both liked him, so me and the doctor were like, who do we cheer for? So we were going back and forth. VIP, Ali. When Ali came out, we were doing Ali, whatever. And then Michael Hayes is with him because he's the tag partner. And whenever we go, Michael Hayes. And Ali points us out and says, what are you doing? It's my match. You guys should know better. So when he saw us, I guess he was probably like poking fun. And then we talked to Michael and Ali after the show. They said it was good to see us back, and they hope we continue to go. And I think I'd like to keep going because it's not about the content of the show. It's just like having fun with the fans there, and it's probably people that go like Ali and Michael and Heidi and Taylor. It's just seeing those people again is why I like to go. So
all right. So with that, let's talk a little TNA.
What?
TNA on Triple Threat Talk.
Ah, really?
Yes.
All right. So TNA we're going to mention. We also talk about the house show debacle, so that's not going to happen. But we actually going to talk about the first ever Triple Threat Talk TNA taping. That's right.
Yes, we actually went to a taping and we actually sat down for 4 hours.
My voice was gone, so I would come. As you know, I'm trying to become a voice actor. So when I came home, I tried to do my really big man impression. Little Poots. I went, Little Poots. My voice was cracked. I'm like, So it was a long night of yelling and chanting.
It was 2 tapings. As you know, TNA does do
Destination X, which aired last
Thursday, and then last night. Last night.
Yes, right.
Airing last night was the second part that we got to see. Right. So a new champion was crowned. Chris Sabin. Hail Sabin! As he hits Bubba Ray with a hammer.
Bully Ray.
I'll forever call him Bubba Ray. That Bubba Ray brought in. And of course the ref gets knocked out.
Speaking of Bully Ray.
Yes.
We saw a traitor on this past Impact.
We did!
Dean Hill, what are you doing?
Last night. Dean Hill, what are you doing? Playing Bubba Ray's lawyer. Attorney. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, but it was a good experience. And you know what? It shows because the Impact we went to was the highest rated Impact all year since January. So obviously it was a very popular one. I think the
crowd was outstanding.
The thing about this city, Louisville, it doesn't have a lot to offer. It doesn't. But I think it's a very passionate wrestling city. Has OVW's been here for a long time. When TNA comes, because TNA never comes here. I mean, they have, but they've never been
here since that house show at Louisville Gardens.
They've never even been here for Impact. Okay, they've never been here for Impact Live. They started with recently. They come here. A lot of people like TNA here. They really support wrestling in general. We do. I favor WWE, but I still support TNA because I want them to grow because I want to see wrestling get better with competing companies. But they came here and the crowd was very live. It was like over 3,000 people. It was a great crowd, great stuff. I mean,
did we get the final numbers?
I think it's like 3,200.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's the highest drawing house show I think they were.
And there were people are doing yes, and that's how big that's gotten. And then I mean
the funniest channel.
I knew you were gonna say before the match comes, the referees come out, and everyone knows that Earl Hebner, who was obviously famous for the Montreal Screwjob, is in TNA now, and he comes out to the ring, and Christy Hemming's like, "Please welcome referee Earl Hebner." And the crowd behind, if you can watch TNA, you'll see us like in the back row of the front row, and there's a crowd behind us. And they were chanting, they were really getting into it. And then when Earl Hebner comes out and she announces his name, the crowd just attacks Earl Hebner saying, "You screwed Brett." And you see this look on Earl Hebner's face like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, really, I cannot avoid this stuff.
He probably thought it.
He can go to Japan, he'd still hear it. However you say, "You screwed Brett" in Japanese, he'd hear it.
Okumba!
I don't think that's how you say that. That's not even close, I guarantee.
I know, I'm just saying. It was fun, it was entertaining, got to see AJ Styles in person. He beat Jeff Hardy, which was amazing. I didn't see that coming.
Bobby Roode and Austin Aries had a great match.
They had a good match.
Destination X was phenomenal. Also to see Trent Beretta, I thought he did a great job.
You mean Greg Marcuccio.
Is that his name?
I think that's
Rockstar Spud from OVW.
Yes, Rockstar Spud was in there. Mannix is your new X Division champion.
If you know who that is.
Or Suicide.
Mickey James was there twice. Hey!
What?
Sorry.
Stick to her day job. That's all.
Her day job is good. So good.
But her singing is not. That's what I'm talking about. Somebody's gonna pay. I'm like, oh no.
Somebody's gonna pay my ears.
Yeah, well, that's what I felt. That's why I had to go to the bathroom during that segment.
Mickey, I don't mean it.
Yes, she does. He means it.
I don't.
So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you grade the TNA show?
I give him like a 7.5.
I'd say about an 8.
I thought it was good. I think they did a good job.
I was impressed.
Can they keep it up? I don't know.
We'll see. I told him we should tune in for Bound for Glory. I know it's a pay-per-view event, but maybe we should tune in to watch. We did watch Slammiversary together. That was the last.
That was a big
Oh my gosh!
They laid an egg.
That was a bad egg.
They laid an Easter egg.
Yes. That was. But you know, for
match after match was
for who they have and the I guess the capabilities and the talent. It's good. They do a good job.
Yeah.
They do the best they can.
And that's the reason I said earlier in the questions. I think this is their last full year because WWE has such a deep pocket,
right?
And TNA doesn't have that.
And one quick thing, I got to get your thought on this because I know you hadn't seen it before. What was your thoughts about seeing Sting in person?
Here's the thing. I didn't see Sting. I saw Steve Borden. The thing is, did I know Sting was going to be the main event Mafia? Yes. Did I know he was not going to wrestle? No. I saw Kurt Angle. I've seen Kurt Angle before, so it was nothing new to me. Hulk Hogan was something that
was epic.
Yeah, because I got goosebumps from Hulk Hogan. I had never seen Hulk Hogan live. So that was awesome. But I wanted to see Sting, not Steve Borden.
I see.
So it's not the same as, him in the jacket and the mask and going, it's not the same.
He still did that.
So maybe we'll see him in New Orleans at WrestleMania 30 face Taker.
Could be with that. Alright, so let's take a quick break here. When we get back, we'll get into WWE coverage.
8 months strong.
Yeah, 8 months. We'll see. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Triple Threat Talk. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, Nick Dinsmore here. Do you have the dream of becoming a pro wrestler? Well, I did, and I came to Ohio Valley Wrestling. Join the Nick Dinsmore Pro Wrestling class today. I'm a former WWE superstar. I'm a former 9-time Ohio Valley Wrestling heavyweight champion, and I can train you to be the best today. For all the information regarding the Nick Dinsmore Pro Wrestling class, go to ovwrestling.com and click on school. Join the Nick Dinsmore Pro Wrestling class today. ovwrestling.com, click on school.
And welcome back here on Triple Threat Talk. I am Big B alongside Postmaster Joe and Jimmy Biggers. And yet again, as we mentioned throughout the show, the doctor went on the dating game and he's currently on a date. Yep. Again, we'll ask him next week. So, how did it go?
Yeah, I wonder, you know what? I think next week we should get Chuck Woolery on the show.
What about Bob Eubanks?
I like Chuck Woolery better. You know why?
Wait. Who did the dating game? Is that Chuck Woolery?
I thought he did the newlywed game.
That was Bob Eubanks.
Yeah, so I think maybe Chuck Woolery did the dating game. Yeah.
Okay.
But we could get Chuck Woolery.
Yeah, I'm sure we have those connections
to talk about Smart Mouth. That would be hilarious.
Oh yeah.
So WWE this week. Interesting Raw. Mm-hmm. We had Paul Heyman live via satellite.
Sounds like The Rock.
It does sound like The Rock. Heyman via satellite. Mm-hmm. But yet, even though he wasn't there in person and Brock Lesnar wasn't there.
Well, he was via satellite too, apparently.
It was a very good segment.
Mm-hmm.
It did what it was supposed to do. That's
set up the match SummerSlam.
Sometimes certain things are done, and they're done because that's how they want them done, and and there's no other reason for it.
So that's the match of SummerSlam between Lesnar and Punk.
Dolph Ziggler
beat Darren Young. No days off, Darren Young.
Yeah, and he then got attacked.
Yeah, by Big E Langston. They're setting up that feud, obviously. I think that's going to be another match at SummerSlam. So you're kind of seeing them putting the pieces together for certain matches at SummerSlam. Punk, Lesnar, Bryan, Cena, Langston, Ziggler, Cody Rhodes, Sandow. That's an easy one to pick too.
Wade Barrett continues to job.
Lost to Rob Van Dam.
That's not a surprise. I didn't think RVD would lose to Wade Barrett.
I don't know where he's going.
Who?
RVD, what's he?
I don't know. He hasn't lost since he come back. I mean, he lost to Money in the Bank, but I mean...
Singles.
He hasn't lost a singles match since he came back.
Cody Rhodes beat... who do you fight?
Good question.
Ouch, that's bad for me.
That is bad for you. Christian beat Titus O'Neil.
Right. Cody Rhodes fought... How can I forget? He fought... Fandango! And Sam trying to get involved, and Cody got the better... That's... I don't think you agree with me. I don't think Aaron agree. It's just so easy to spot that they're setting up for Cody Rhodes to beat Sandor for the Money in the Bank.
Well, I agree with you. The other night, remember we were talking during Raw, and I told you I thought it was going to happen.
I mean, they're setting up so easily. Sandor was talking too much about he's the undercrowned world champion. He's never won a belt in his life in WWE, so it's just like it's so easy to point out that Cody's going to challenge him at SummerSlam for the Money in the Bank. Cody's going to win, and he might possibly cash in that night. I don't know if he will or not. He's going to be Del Rio versus
Ziggler, maybe?
He's fighting Langston.
Oh, that's right. So it won't be Ziggles.
No.
Sheamus?
I don't know.
I don't know who it'll be.
I don't know. They don't have anybody that can.
They don't have anybody yet.
Ziggler's Langston. So, I don't know.
So at the beginning of the night, we had a contract signing.
They never go right.
They never go right.
Well, that's when them do that.
No. I like how John Cena got the crowd pretty revved up. He got the crowd to chant Eddie.
That's good.
He talked about because
Daniel Bryan's small.
Yeah, and because he's tired of everybody picking on Daniel Bryan. I like what they're doing here. They're not really attacking each other.
Yeah.
It's a different approach. I mean, most people probably wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
Because, but like, it seems like they're taking up for each other and they're kind of helping each other.
Right.
And in this instance, he was basically saying, Brad Maddox, I'm tired of you making fun of Daniel Bryan. Did we make fun of Rey Mysterio when he was champion? Shawn Michaels, Eddie Guerrero. I think he named one or two.
Yeah, I was going to name the three.
So Brad Maddox thought it would be funny that Daniel Bryan be tested.
Not just in a match, but match is.
Yes, a gauntlet match.
First was against Jack Swagger. That was okay.
The second match was the match of the night by far.
Another contender for match of the year, along with Rob Van Dam and Chris Jericho.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Just on the WWE scale, it was great. You have Daniel Bryan fighting Antonio Cesaro. But on the upper echelon wrestling scale, you have Bryan Danielson fighting Claudio Castagnoli, which is phenomenal.
ROH, anybody? ROH?
Exactly. It's just like... I don't say this a lot in wrestling matches, but the finish, I literally said, wow. Suplex counter to a small package, unbelievable.
That was epic.
Unbelievable.
That was epic.
And then he fought Wake up!
Ryback. And Ryback gets himself intentionally disqualified because he powerbombs Bryan through a table.
Yeah.
And John Cena was not happy about that. He said, why don't you pick on somebody your own size and fight me in a tables match? So it's been confirmed.
So that's Raw.
So Raw this coming Monday will be John Cena versus Ryback in a tables match. Right. And we won't spoil it for you. We do know who won.
It was taped on Tuesday. I don't know why they did that. I don't know.
Well, they're on a world tour.
That's right. They're in Australia. That's right.
They're in Australia and I think China. I think.
Right.
So it was a good Raw.
It's good.
It told the one bad.
They're building towards SummerSlam.
The one bad segment had to be the Total Divas segment.
Bad for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
Did you know about it?
About what?
Brie Bella.
Yes.
Okay.
But I mean, all around it was just wasn't.
I personally, I'm gonna watch it because I eat that stuff up. I eat backstage stuff up all the time.
I know. You eat women looking nice up. I don't blame you. I would too. And that's not a downer. That's a compliment.
I'm just saying. I like behind the scenes, and I mean, here's the thing: the show is gonna be watched not because of the backstage thing, but because you have John Cena's gonna be on it. Daniel Bryan's gonna be on it. Mm-hmm. It's gonna have some stuff for people that like wrestling. So it's gonna be on it too. Honestly, everyone knows about the incident on Raw with Brie Bella and her nip slip.
Nip slip.
WWE was very upset about that.
That's the second one in the last month.
Yeah, the other one was Caitlyn.
Yeah, it was accidental.
Yeah, but this one.
I don't know if this was accidental.
Well, she said that the tape got hot and the tape kind of fell off, but WWE actually forced her to make an apology on Twitter. She made an apology, said the tape came off because it was hot in the arena and that'll never happen again. WWE was pretty mad because the product and it's PG, and it's not like it was quick. You watch it back, you can see it clear as day. It's not hard to point out.
Right.
So, but
but I'm not watching back.
Huh?
I'm not watching back.
Okay. But I guess to end the WWE thing, Total Divas is on this Sunday at 10 o'clock. I'll be taping it because the newsroom is on Sunday. I have to watch that first. But I will tape Total Divas and I'll give her an overview on the show because it is a wrestling topic and I do want to address it. It should be interesting because the first episode I know takes place where Brie Bella asked John Cena about their relationship and
I watched that.
They're getting married. It's a tough topic for John.
I watched it already.
Yeah, so it's a tough topic for him because his marriage didn't work out, and But it'll be interesting because you have those people on the show like Cena and Bryan, and I see how these divas progress like JoJo and Eva Marie. So we'll see what happens with them. So.
Absolutely. So they're building up for SummerSlam, just a couple weeks away.
I mean, you pretty much have Punk Lesnar, Bryan Cena. Cody Sandow, Langston Ziggler. I would say something between the Wyatts and Mark Henry, probably. Not the Wyatts, the Shield and Mark Henry.
Yeah.
Wyatts maybe somewhere there.
Could be.
Del Rio's
something. Yeah. It'll all tie together. They always make it happen.
Right,
so with that's wrestling coverage this week. The only wild card I have really before you get into yours is just to reiterate that this weekend I'll be at the Brickyard in Indianapolis.
Not in the Brickyard.
There. I'll be there for the races. It'll be my third Sprint Cup race of the season. So pretty excited that I'm able to make the third race of the season. So it should be fun. The weather's looking like it's going to cooperate. It's going to be in the upper 70s to low 80s. So absolutely perfect. Not really a chance of rain that I've seen yet. But
don't watch the weather because whatever it is probably the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. It seems to be that way.
So if you're rain, so the opposite. Right?
Exactly. And also, real quick, I just want to say that we may have some info regarding some big stuff coming down the pipe for us individually and together.
Hush.
We don't want to talk about it yet, but it involves another private organization that it's within our state that we live in. Right. So with that, Big B, wild card?
I'm a wild card. I'm not going to get too involved into it because I could go for a little while. We've all seen the hit on this show. We all see it on SportsCenter and various places out there. The J.D. Von Clowney hit. And there's talk now that now with the new rules in place, that hit he would get fined and ejected from the game. That is a load of garbage. And people are saying he was defenseless. How is he defenseless? Running back is right in his line of sight and he nails it. That's a perfectly legit hit. For this to be him to get ejected from the game is completely ludicrous. That's absolutely stupid. I mean, they're already ruining the game as enough as they wanted to take away the punt return and they wanted to take away special teams to begin with in the NFL. And now it's all about eject people for clean hits and it's just stop it. I mean, honestly, stop it. I mean, I get you trying to think about the safety and protection of your players. I get that 110%.
It's pretty self-explanatory when Eric LeGrand, everybody remembers him, the Rutgers player that was paralyzed, tweeted, said, I got paralyzed for a hit less than that.
Yeah, so come on.
Really?
I hope football doesn't get...
I don't think.
I hope football doesn't get to this point. You're down.
Or... somebody grab his other flag! Somebody grab his other flag!
I mean, yeah, just...
It'd be like lingerie football.
They need to stop this. I know football's a violent sport. I get that.
It's part of it.
But
they
it's part of the game.
to play the game.
So, I mean...
Nobody makes them play.
Don't eject someone for a fantastic... One of the best I've ever seen ever in college. I mean, that kid is a stud. He's going to play. So whoever gets him is going to have a great defensive player. But that hit's phenomenal. And for them to penalize him for it is absolutely nonsense. So
I think we have co-idiots of the week this week.
Is mine the same as yours?
Well, I have one and you have one as well. So why don't you go ahead and tell us...
My end of the week. Now, I respect the man because he's been in the business for so long, but this is just... Come on, really? Jerry the King Lawler. So, they filmed the show, and he decided to drive to the next town for the next... I think it was the taping they were doing on Tuesday, the Raw taping. Yeah. He had to be there to commentate.
Yeah.
So he drives, and he drives,
and he drives.
He drives 3 hours the wrong way. Sounds like that thing from Dumb and Dumber. You just drove us a sixth of the way in the wrong direction. Anyway, so he drives 3 hours out of the wrong way, has to call WWE saying, hey, guess what? This town I'm in ain't the right one. Has to give him a flight to pick him up and take him to the next town.
WWE is not happy.
WWE officials were not happy. They say for a guy that's been over 40 years in the business, and this is a rookie mistake, they're not happy about it. My two things about it. Number one, I've been around the block with WWE for quite some time, for a long time, and I kind of know that they have travel buddies. So maybe he doesn't have a travel buddy. That's number one. In this day and age, if you're a wrestler and you're going from town to town, the money you make, you figure you'd be able to just buy a GPS.
You would think.
Because if you don't know where you're going...
You would think a rental car would come equipped with a GPS. Most of them do.
You don't know where you're going? It's a pretty easy way to know where you're going.
Right.
So that's my... Jerry Lawler, you're this week's Triple Threat Talk. Big B's Idiot of the Week. Now we throw over to PostMaster for his Idiot of the Week, and this one's pretty fun.
This one, it makes you scratch your head. It makes you go, what were you thinking? Just like kind of with that. So Charlie Weiss... most notably as the offensive coordinator for the Patriots, the head coach for Notre Dame, and then he was also the coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs.
For 1 year.
For 1 year. And then I think he went to UCLA or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, so this past week he's holding a press conference, and he's now the coach at the University of Kansas, he calls his own football team a pile of crap. Not the other team.
Way to motivate your talent.
Not Kansas State, not Texas, not Oklahoma. Not talking about anybody else in the conference. His own team. Come play for us. We're a pile of crap.
If that doesn't motivate for the next season, I don't know what does.
I mean, really?
Maybe it's reverse psychology.
So, Charlie Weiss, you are my PostMaster Jones Idiot of the week.
All right, so good show this week.
Hopefully the doc will be back from his date next week.
How did it go? So if you want to like us on Facebook, please do it. Facebook.com/triplethreattalk. You can follow us on Twitter at triplethreattalk. It says any comment or question you have at triplethreattalk@yahoo.com. And of course, your blogs. And of course, visit our website, triplethreattalk.com. Thank you to Terry and Cheryl Bodie for doing all that for us. This is Big B.
This is PostMaster Jones, and we hope everybody has a good week. Enjoy the summer while it's here, and we hope to have our good pal, the Doc, next week back on the show. And thanks again to Brian Cannon for all his work, and we'll see you next week.
This is Big B signing off, and you know what? I'm going to go buy me a Pez dispenser. We'll see you next week.
It's Pez, Big B! Pez!
Pez dispenser.
That was funny. Good show, Fail. Good show.